And we are live. Welcome to another episode of AB Traffic Quick Talk. And today we're going to be talking about the rise of child labor. You want to know what's really happening? Today we're pulling back the curtain on something that hits close to home, something that demands our attention: the alarming rise of child labor right here in the United States. When I first started seeing the reports, my stomach dropped. We're talking about kids, our kids, whether they're being forced into dangerous work by desperate circumstances or carrying the weight of feeling like they have to provide for their families. This is a tragedy playing out right now. And honestly, it's sickening. In a country like ours, this shouldn't even be a conversation, let alone a growing problem.
$1 million in fines for violating child labor laws. The Labor Department says Packer Sanitation Services had more than 100 children, some as young as 13, working at more than a dozen meat processing plants in 8 states.
The numbers tell a terrifying story. Since 2015, the U.S. Department of Labor has reported a 283% increase in child labor violations. Let that sink in. Nearly 5,800 children were found working illegally in 2023 alone, leading to an 83% increase in violations from just the year before. In some cases, civil penalties for these violations have shot up 130% in the last 6 years, and the number of children affected has almost doubled. We're talking about over 2,000 violations and millions in penalties across various companies. Just last month, one of the biggest names in meatpacking, JBS USA, had to pay $4 million because a third-party company they use was found employing migrant children in dangerous jobs, working brutal overnight shifts in U.S. facilities. And they're not alone. Perdue Farms and JBS together had to pay $8 million for relying on migrant kids in their slaughterhouses. This isn't some historical footnote. It's happening right now in industries many of us interact with every day. So why are we seeing this disturbing surge? It's not one simple answer, but a mix of devastating factors creating a perfect storm for exploitation. One major reason is economic pressure and a tight labor market. Some businesses are just looking for the cheapest labor they could find, cutting corners and exploiting the system. They see these kids as a way to save money. And on the flip side, you have families, often including minors who have come to the US, who feel immense pressure to find work to survive and send money back home. Most times, finding work in lower wage sectors where the risk of getting caught or facing penalties for employers seems low. This creates a toxic environment for employers to disregard labor laws, knowing they could get away with it.
Tyson's Food, for example. Let me just give you an example of bad corporate behavior. Tyson's Food has closed down 2 major plants in my state, the state of Missouri, just in the last year and a half. They have canceled contracts with farmers. They have put thousands of workers in my state out of business. And yet, we know from the investigations done by the New York Times and others that they have huge numbers of illegal child labor in their supply chains. In their factories, they are putting children who are trafficked here to work. So they're firing American workers, but they are exploiting child workers. Will you go after companies like Tyson's and anyone else who would violate our labor laws and exploit children while they are firing American workers?
But it gets worse. While this problem is exploding, we are seeing states actually roll back child labor protections. Many states have passed new laws that weaken the very safeguards meant to protect these children. For instance, some laws now allow kids as young as 14 to work long night shifts and even take on jobs in dangerous conditions. This trend of loosening labor laws is happening at the same time as we are seeing this dramatic rise in violations, creating an environment where children are at greater risk. The impact on these kids is devastating. We're talking about minors working longer hours in dangerous conditions like fast food kitchens with hot grills and deep fryers at ages far younger than legally permitted. This isn't just about a lost childhood. It leads to impaired brain development, poor physical and mental health, and worse social status in adulthood. It steals their future before it even begins. And here's where my frustration really boils. When we look at budget cuts to our school systems and children's development programs, I can only see this number going up. If we're not properly funding education and support systems that give kids a safe place to learn and grow, what do we expect them to do when families are struggling? It pushes them further into making them easier targets for exploitation. We need our government at both state and federal levels to take a strong stance against this. This means enhancing enforcement, imposing much stricter penalties on employers who exploit minors and immigrant workers, and improving protective measures. We need to expand support systems for the youth and hold corporations accountable, not just fine them a little bit and let them continue their practices. We have to demand better for our children. And that's all I got for you. Don't forget to drop a like, a subscribe, a comment, and share. Do all that good stuff for me. Until next time.